To you for joining us from Shein and from Temu this afternoon to give us evidence. Ms. Zhu, perhaps I could just start the questioning with your good self. Could you just tell us, do you source cotton from China?
So Shein is a company originated and developed in China, leveraging the Chinese supply chain. We have since grown into a global business with presence in over 150 countries.
But do you source cotton from China today?
So our suppliers, we do not obviously own any manufacturing facilities. Mm-hmm. We work with a wide network of suppliers. Our contract manufacturers, we have manufacturers in China, in Brazil, in Turkey, and we're obviously looking at the other potential supply chain.
In the products that you ship, there is cotton from China?
Like I mentioned, the suppliers we work with, they are based in China, in Turkey, and Brazil. Yeah. And obviously, many of them are in China.
Okay, this isn't a trick question. It's not a complicated question. In the products that you ship, will there be cotton from China?
So the suppliers we work with, most of them, they're based in regions...
It's actually a yes or no question, actually. Do you think that there is cotton from China in the products that you ship? Yes or no?
My understanding, and also, Chair, with all due respect, while I understand that today's discussions about international supply chain and upholding labour rights and standards, I can only answer questions as far as my position and responsibility relates to. So I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. To the extent there are details that I'm not able to provide, if you would allow me, we can provide written response after the hearing.
Right, okay. But the first question is there cotton from China in the goods that you sell?
Chair, thank you again for your patience. With all due respect, may I please ask for permission to be able to write to you about the further questions you may have?
You can't tell the committee today whether there is cotton from China in the products that Shein sells.
What I'm able to share with the committee, obviously we comply with laws and regulations everywhere we do business in the world. And we have supplier code of conduct, we have robust systems and procedures in place and policies in place. And we also have very strong enforcement measures in place to ensure we adhere to these high standards that are expected in our supply chain. And we take these.
You can't tell the committee today whether there is cotton from China in the products that you sell.
As mentioned, Chair, with all due respect, for detailed operational information and other aspects I'm not able to assist, I will have to write back to the committee afterwards.
Are you able to tell us whether there is any cotton from Xinjiang in the products that you sell?
Similarly, I believe that's a similar question to the previous one just asked, so we are going to have to write to the committee afterwards.
Okay. You can't tell me definitively today whether the products that you sell contains any cotton from Xinjiang?
Thank you again for your patience. I am going to apologize for having to repeat again. If you would allow me, we'll write to the committee afterwards.
Okay. Is it your company's view that there is forced labour in Xinjiang in China?
Again, back to the agenda of the committee, as I understand it, we're looking at upholding standards.
The agenda for the committee is, as I set out, what the agenda is. And the question is, does your company fear that there is forced labour in Xinjiang?
I'm only able to answer the questions that are relating to our business.
You cannot tell me whether Shein fears there is forced labour in Xinjiang?
As mentioned, I don't think it's our place to comment on just having a geopolitical debate. My responsibility
geopolitical
here,
debate, it's a question of fact.
I am only able to answer questions as they are related to our business.
Okay, but if your business is sourcing product from Xinjiang, then you ought to know whether there are risks of forced labour in your products.
if you would allow me, I can explain a little bit about our business. Our business, obviously, is about...
We'll get into that. Don't worry. Let me just follow that question up, though, to ask, do you think that there is a problem with due diligence for investigating human rights in Xinjiang?
Again, if there is a specific question about our business and how we do supply chain due diligence, I'm happy to explain here to the committee how we carry out a supply chain due diligence, if I may.
Okay.
And they work with an over 140-item comprehensive checklist.
And on that checklist, does that include any prohibitions on using cotton that is sourced in Xinjiang?
What I'm able to explain in terms of due diligence process and the list is we have immediate termination violations and also immediate remediation violations. The forced labor and child labor and ethical issues such as bribery or integrity issues such as trying to avoid audits, these are all immediate termination violations, while as in immediate remediation violations, that includes, for example, preventing the workers from unionizing or joining a union, or having poor unsafe working condition, or having significant negative environmental impact, so on.
But you don't prohibit suppliers from sourcing cotton in Xinjiang? So that's on that 140-point checklist that you just referred to. One of those 140 points isn't you shall not buy cotton from Xinjiang.
As I was trying to describe, the policies and generally the position is we comply with laws and regulations in all the countries that we do business as they're applicable to us. So the audits are obviously carried out in order to ensure that. Okay.
Again, maybe this is a simple yes or no, but in your 140-point checklist, do you prohibit your suppliers from sourcing cotton in Xinjiang?
Chair, and as I don't directly work on the audit, whilst I understand your question, I understand the importance of the work of the committee, I'm going to have to ask for permission to write back to you on this.
Okay. In November 2023, Oritain found that just under 2% of Shein's cotton tested positive for unapproved cotton. Can you tell us what the figure was for the last month for which you have data?
Unfortunately, as I am not directly responsible for that area, and I do not have information on this.
Okay. If we write to you, are you able to supply that information?
I'm going to have to check internally whether the information is available.
Okay. You are seeking a listing.
I'm not able to comment on any IPO related. It's not my remit to.
It was reported that Shein sought permission of the China Securities Regulatory Commission to list in the UK or the US. So why would you need Chinese government permission to list in either America or Britain if you're a company headquartered in Singapore?
Sorry, Chair, I am not able to comment on because I'm not close to the details of the news report that you just mentioned.
Okay, so you can't tell us anything about listing, you can't tell us anything about cotton in Shein products, and you can't tell us much. Okay, well that's been an extremely helpful evidence session. I think to colleagues from Timu, I think there is some reassurance about some of your supplier agreements, but Ms. Xu, I have to say, for a company that sells £1 billion to UK consumers, and for a company which is seeking to float on the London Stock Exchange, the committee has been pretty horrified by the lack of evidence that you have provided today. You've given us almost zero confidence in the integrity of your supply chains. You can't even tell us what your products are made from. You can't tell us much about the conditions which workers have to work in, and the reluctance to answer basic questions has frankly bordered on contempt of the committee. So I hope that we can bring some clarity to this matter as quickly as we can through follow-up correspondence, but for now this concludes this panel. Order, order.